Well, I met Phil Brooks, CM Punk, when I was on the tail end of my 5-year contract when I joined WWE, and I had been. This was right after ECW One Night Stand, the first one, and I was asked to go to OVW and write and produce their television for Wednesdays. And one of the talent that I got sent early on was Phil Brooks, CM Punk, who had worked for my protege Gabe Sapolsky in Ring of Honor and had built quite a reputation of A, being a fantastic performer, and B, having ideas of his own. Oh no, oh God forbid, somebody has an idea of his own, about his own character, to make himself break through the glass ceiling that so obviously existed. So they brought CM Punk in because he had all this buzz on the internet, and they really didn't know what to do with him. And that's what they said to him. They go, hey, how do you want to, he had a match, a dark match, that wasn't on television. And a certain person went up to him and said, what's your finish? Well, his finish was a pedigree off the top rope called the Pepsi Plunge. Not the best political thing to present to WWE at the time. So, he said, I don't know, what finish do you want me to use? And they said, do one of those flippy-dippy things like Jeff Hardy. And he said, well, I don't do flippy-dippy things like Jeff Hardy. And they looked at him, and honestly, they said, you don't? No! Have you ever watched any of my matches? No, we just read about you on the internet. And that's why they hired him. So they had him. It sounds so fucking retarded, doesn't it? But it's true. And that's the thing. I say these things and people go, no way, that really happened. It really happened. So they sent him to OVW and they said, fire this kid. And I'm like, what do you mean fire this kid? I don't fire talent. I don't even hire talent. I develop talent. You send me talent, I develop them, I send them back to the main roster. And they're like, no, just get rid of him. I don't want to fucking get rid of him. This guy's a main event. This guy's a superstar. This guy belongs on top and will succeed on top and will make you money on top. And they just looked at me like I was nuts. So I worked with him, and I directed him, and I protected him, and I kept him in the OVW long past the length that they wanted him to be there. And when we started the new ECW, he was the first guy that I brought with me from OVW because this was the guy I was going to build the promotion around as our new star. So, and then of course, on the December to Dismember, a lot of that had to do with Vince McMahon and I disagreeing as to the presentation and the push of CM Punk. So when Punk went on television in 2011, and I was forgotten by that time. I was out of this business. I was doing a lot of the digital work with Brock Lesnar, who was in UFC. Brock and I had written Brock's autobiography together. I was gone. I was part of history, and part of a history that was quickly being written out and forgotten. And Punk came on television in Las Vegas, of all places, home of UFC, and said, that's right, I'm a Paul Heyman guy. And because he was so hot at the time, people started Googling, well, who's this guy, Paul Heyman? Those who knew me were shocked to hear my name, and those who had no clue who I was became interested in who I was. So a year later, I'm back on television with Brock Lesnar. And the deal that I agreed to when coming back was I work with Brock. I only work with Brock. I have no interest in working with anybody else, nor did they have any interest in me working with anybody else, mind you. That we worked to SummerSlam, which was Brock versus Triple H. We take time off. We come back in February. We build to WrestleMania at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, right over the bridge from New York. It's an easy trip for me. I could even bring my children to the show. And at that point, Brock and I say, it was nice working with you. Thank you. Goodbye. That was the deal. History changed it, but that was the premise. We got to SummerSlam. We did SummerSlam. tapped out Triple H, broke his arm, said goodbye the next night in Los Angeles on television, and and that's it. Brock and I were off until February. Vince had the idea the next Monday in Chicago. Key point of this whole story. In Chicago, of the season premiere of Monday Night Raw, which will feature something in which CM Punk now fully goes heel. How do you turn CM Punk heel in Chicago? Make it even more difficult? I'm going to turn him heel on John Cena. Because Night of Champions is in Boston, which is John Cena's hometown, where they are sure to boo John Cena and CM Punk. So Vince comes up with the idea, if I can't make them boo him, I can at least make them gasp. We're gonna go for gasping. Oh, oxygen deprivation is one way. I don't know. How are you gonna make them gasp? So I get a phone call, and it's from Vince, and we didn't have much interaction going into SummerSlam. You know, we were still kind of sore from that thing that I don't want to talk about on the plane. And, hey, pal, I want to talk to you about how do you envision, well, what are you going to be doing? Well, you're off until February. I don't know if it might be March sometimes. What are we doing next Monday? Watching the show from Chicago on television. And he says, well, that's interesting. I'd like you to have an up-close seat. I got this idea about you working with somebody else, not just Brock Lesnar on my show. And I'm like, Vince, I don't think we ought to go there. I'm real good with Brock, real happy with our deal. I want to, do that thing going into wrestling. I'm going to bring my kids to WrestleMania. Oh, goddamn. I'd like to see your kids at WrestleMania, Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'd like to see your kids at WrestleMania, too. But I don't want to work with anybody else. Well, I was kind of thinking of putting you with. Vince, I don't care. You want to put me with? No. I think you should. I don't put me with anybody. I'm happy with Brock Lesnar. I mean, why? Why would you even think about it? We don't even get along with each other. Why? Who are you going to put me with? CM Punk. Oh, fuck, I'll see you Monday. Now, you have to understand the uproar that Punk and I had caused behind the scenes that led to that incident on the plane that I don't want to talk about, where I took 5.5 years gone, exiled, written out of history from the company. You have to understand the fact that Punk and I, in those 5.5 years, we talked all the time. I mean, just because I wasn't there doesn't mean I stopped being his rabbi and his friend. So... And a lot of the shit that he was doing was because we bounced ideas off each other, because I had such respect for him as a talent and as a human being. And so I'll never forget this. We were in the car, that very same Chrysler 300 that, when it drove by. Oh my God, it's Heyman. I'm looking at the channel. It's Heyman and Punk, And I looked out and I looked at John Cena, and we drive off. That's the cliffhanger. Who was driving the car with CM Punk all night long? And it ends up being me. Holy shit, Punk and Heyman are together. And I will never forget, we're in commercial. No, not a commercial break. The camera's on the ring, and Cena's laid out, and Punk runs to the back and hops in the car, and the camera cuts back to the ring. And we know we have around 20 seconds before we get the signal, cameras back on us, start driving the car. Because when we drive the car, I have to look out and reveal shit just hit the fan. And we're sitting there, and we're both ducked down just in case, the cameras accidentally cut and we don't want to reveal that we're in the car together? Because these are the type of things that lunatics and obsessive people like Punk and I would always think about. Like, what if that camera goes on early and it blows the whole angle? Hey, why don't we just duck down and then the camera goes on early? Nobody will see. And so we duck down by the dashboard and I look over at him and he says, can you believe they're fucking putting us together? And I'm like, we're both gonna be fucking fired in the next 4 weeks, don't you get it? And he goes, but the shit we're gonna stir in 4 weeks, they don't fucking have a clue. I loved working with him. I loved it. I had the time of my life because it was so different from what I was I got to play 2 different characters on television. I got to play the advocate for Brock Lesnar, in which I get to say every single word because there's no reason for Brock to talk because I do what, no, I'm not insulting. If you guys saw the promos he did going into the UFC 200, you know Brock can talk for himself. But there's no reason for him to talk. The dynamic between us just works better with me doing all the hype about Brock Lesnar, and the thing with Punk is I really didn't have to do say much. I told Jericho this. Do you guys remember the movie Purple Rain with Prince? Anybody here that old or ever watch Prince? Guy died in minutes. Purple Rain, Purple Rain. No, nobody knows Prince. You don't know Prince? Okay. Stupid fucking analogy. Know the age of your audience, Paul. Okay. Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street. No, okay. Hey, Bert and Ernie. Rick in the front row. He should have stuck with Prince. Anyway, I just found myself to be the guy that stood behind Punk and made faces. That's all I really did. Punk would be laying into people. I'm CM Punk. I'm the longest reigning WWE champion in the past 25 years. I will rip your stupid head off. I hate Dwayne Johnson. I hate John Cena. I hate Dolph Ziggler. I hate Roberto Del Rio. I hate Vince McMahon. I hate everybody, and I hate each and every one of you. And I'd sit there and go like, and that title weighed like 40 pounds. And I'd sit there, and every time he'd say that he's the champion, and I'd just be begging him to like go into something else. I could just bring the title back down. Holy shit, man, that's a workout just holding that thing up. We had a blast working with each other because just like me, he had no idea what he was going to say when he went out to the ring. He was just doing it, allegedly shoot promos that then get wrapped around into the storyline that we're telling, that he fervently believed in his heart that he was telling the truth.